last chapter of Mate is around looking out, and you mentioned something very, very specific around boundaries.
Yeah.
Can we go a little bit deeper here, because that's the other aspect that we just seem to let things creep into our lives. And firstly, I suppose the question is how do we set the right boundaries?
Yeah, right. Okay. Look, boundaries, I think, are, and being a psychotherapist, we talk about these with our clients all the time. And so many people are afraid of setting a boundary. They don't want to upset somebody. And the first thing you need to understand about boundaries is that they don't actually rupture connection with anybody. What they do is solidify and cement it. Good friend of mine, Joe Hart, says, one careful no is worth 100 lazy yeses. So when you set a boundary, and you push back in somebody, and you don't, it doesn't have to be no, bang, that's a barrier, right? That does sever connection. In what do you call it? Interpretive comedy, sort of, you sit in an audience and somebody suggests a scene and suggests some players, and they'll start acting it out without a script, etc. Now we're back in the play space again, but in terms of boundaries, they will never say the word no. They say yes and.
Yeah.
Right. To sort of continue the thing going. And we can do exactly the same thing with boundaries. So that a couple of points. A boundary, others call them non-negotiable. I'm not a fan. I think everything has a negotiation as long as it's on your terms. Yep. I go to my spin classes 3 nights a week. If Luke said, we need to do this thing at nighttime, I won't say no. But I will say, okay, but then I'll negotiate and say I'm going to have to go to spin class in the morning because my exercise is important. So we set boundaries around what's important to us that we need to sort of ensure that we're keeping ourselves safe. Generally, we need to tell other people about them, and you'll find that they respect them because they now know that you have limits. And when you do say yes, they know you're reliable and dependable. And the only person who's going to have an issue with your setting a boundary is someone who kind of stood to gain by you not having it. So that person was going to use you. Fuck them. We don't need them, right? So we can set a sort of a safe boundary. The most important thing about boundaries is you set it around your values, not your emotion at the time. I'm tired, so I'm going to set a boundary. I'm not going to go out or something, whatever it is. That's kind of not a boundary. That's a mood, right? We set boundaries around values. What's important to us? I value my exercise, so I have a boundary around ensuring I get it. I value people respecting me. So, if someone's continually 10 minutes late to my meetings, stop having the meetings for a while and just see what their response is. I will find some way to ensure that I'm getting sort of what I need, or negotiate some kind of a compromise between the two. And we need those for our own sort of, first of all, for our own self-esteem and self-worth and self-care, but also there's sort of a self-compassion. If you're feeling somebody's trotting all over your boundaries, then you need to do something to take care of yourself and know that it's okay that you're doing that. That's self-compassion. Life's hard, and we're all doing the best we can. And I will do whatever I need to do to make sure I'm okay.